Boom! Ladies and gentlemen, dreamers, fighters, outcasts, and warriors, welcome to Grimvolt, where pain becomes power and silence turns into a roar. Today we're diving into a truth so wild, it shocks the system. You've mastered the game so well they call you AI. Wait, what? AI? AI? Oh, yes. Because you're too sharp, too focused, too relentless. You don't bend. You don't break. You rise. You dominate. You walk in rooms and silence follows. This one's for the doubted, the dismissed, the misunderstood souls who built themselves in darkness and now shine with terrifying brilliance. You're not robotic, you're refined. You're not artificial, you're authentic fire. So gear up, Joker. The storm is ours to smile through. Let's go. They said you wouldn't make it. They laughed behind closed doors. You were the one always overlooked, the one nobody cheered for. In their eyes, you were invisible. Aim, unimportant, a background character. But deep down, something was burning, something wild, something powerful. You didn't scream for attention. You didn't beg for chances. Instead, you studied. You watched in silence, collecting pain like tokens. You walked through lonely hallways where whispers echoed louder than footsteps. While others found comfort in crowds, you found purpose in solitude. Not because you wanted to be alone, but because that's where warriors are made, where strength grows, where clarity is born. You were the underdog with fire in your eyes. You saw the game differently, not as something you had to play, but something you would one day control. They didn't notice when you changed, when your eyes grew colder, sharper, focused. They were too busy watching the noise, and you were too busy mastering silence. Every insult carved another layer of armor. Every failure taught you something no classroom could offer. They saw you as weak, but weakness is misunderstood power in disguise. While they looked outward for validation, they wanted likes. You wanted legacy. They craved comfort. You embraced chaos. That's what turned you from nothing into something. Not luck, not magic, not shortcuts. You built yourself from the ground up, one piece at a time, and you did it without applause, without permission. You found beauty in repetition, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in doing what others refused to do. People around you began to shift. They noticed the discipline, the change in your posture, the quiet fire in your movements. You didn't need to shout. Your presence became the message. The same ones who doubted you now whisper in awe. They say you're different, like you're something unnatural. They call you AI now because you're too calculated, too consistent, too untouchable. But they miss the truth. You're not artificial. You're the realest thing they've ever seen. What they mistake for robotic is just the result of relentless self-mastery. You didn't break the rules. You rewrote them. You went from invisible to undeniable, from a background character to the lead. And all because you stayed hungry. Because you didn't wait for a chance. You became the chance. You are living proof that greatness isn't born. It's forged in shadows, in silence, in solitude. Now when they see you walk in, the presence, the storm, the soul that refused to quit. You didn't just survive the game, you mastered it. And the best part, you're only just getting started. When they call you AI, darn, it isn't a compliment. Rooted in logic. Where it is, it's a reaction. We're a reflection of their disbelief. Because the level you operate on now, where it is unreal to them. Then you move like a ghost through distractions. You perform with precision. You don't complain. You don't pause. To them, it's mechanical. Artist, to you it's a mission. People call it robotic because they've never known true focus. Artist, because they've never stared at their goals with burning eyes, because they've never heard their own heart whisper. This is not the end. That is why you seem non-human, because you don't break. Artist, because you don't stop. Most people chase emotion. They're driven by mood. If the weather's wrong, artists, if their friends cancel, artists, if the motivation disappears, they disappear too. That is, but you move anyway. So you don't need to feel ready. Artist, you decide to be ready. Artist, especially when it hurts. Artist, you wake up early not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. Artist, you do the hard things not for praise, but because your soul demands excellence. They think you're cold because they've never seen this kind of fire. Artist, they call it artificial because they've never known this kind of authenticity. They can't understand how you stay consistent. Artist, they can understand how you stay consistent. You're not scrolling. You're building. You're not gossiping. You're creating. Artist, and you don't chase drama. Just chase destiny. That's not artificial intelligence. That's awakened human intelligence. You've sharpened yourself into something rare, something pure. While they were watching, you were working. While they were dreaming, you were doing. That's what they don't see. That's what they don't see. That's what they'll never fully grasp. Your dedication is so fierce, so focused, they have no words for it. So they call you AI, because you don't act like the rest. You don't break when it's hard. You don't fold when you're tired. You don't lose your rhythm when life gets chaotic. You simply adapt, evolve, continue. They expect emotion to ruin you, but you've turned emotion into fuel. This is what being AI in real life means. It means doing what most people avoid. It means repeating what's necessary, even when it's boring. It means finishing what you start every single time. It means removing excuses from your dictionary and replacing them with execution, with action, with power. And the truth is, you're not superhuman. You're just committed. That's the real difference. You decided to show up daily. You decided to become the one nobody forgets. Now they try to put a label on you. AI, they say, because they can't accept the truth that someone like you still exists. You're not a machine. You're a mirror, reflecting back what's possible when fire meets discipline. What happens when purpose refuses to sleep? So let them whisper, let them wonder, let them label you AI. Just smile, because you and I both know you're alive like never before. Before they clapped, before they cheered your name, before they watched every move you made, you were in the dark, not by accident, not by punishment, by choice. Because growth doesn't need an audience. It needs silence. It needs struggle. You trained in places no light could reach. You practiced when the world was asleep. You sacrificed sleep, comfort, attention, validation, all of it. Not for glory, not for but because something inside you refused to stay small. While others wasted time scrolling, you were sweating in solitude. While they were talking, you were turning pain into purpose. You weren't invited to their parties, but you didn't care because you weren't trying to be popular. You were trying to be powerful. They never saw the tears behind your progress. They never saw the nights you screamed into pillows. They didn't see the injuries, the failures, the breakdown. You cried, but you didn't quit. You bled, but you kept lifting. You stumbled, but you still showed up. That's what separates you, not talent, not luck, but your obsession with becoming better. The shadows became your gym, your temp, your proving ground. It was ugly, It was quiet, but it was yours. People loved the results, but they couldn't survive your routine. They couldn't handle the silence, the discipline, the sacrifice. They see the shine, the control, the strength, but they don't know the hours you invested, the days you nearly gave up, the years you trained without applause. That's what training in the shadows is. It's doing the hard work with no reward in sight. It's trusting the grind when no one's watching. It's committing to your craft like it's your last breath. You didn't wait for support. You became your own army. You didn't need motivation. You became your own storm. When the spotlight came, it didn't change you, because you weren't built in the spotlight. You were built in darkness, in silence, in sweat. While others were relaxing, you were prepared not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. That's why when people see you now, they don't understand. They say you're too disciplined, too intense, too sharp. But the truth is, you've just trained harder than them, in places they've never dared to go. The shadows gave you something no classroom ever could. They gave you edge. They gave you self-respect. They gave you unshakable identity. That's why now, when the world gets loud, you stay calm. You've already fought louder battles inside your own head, so keep training in silence. Let your soul scream in the stillness. Build alone. Evolve alone. Evolve alone. Rise alone. Because when you emerge, when you finally step into the light, the world won't recognize you, but they'll remember you forever. You were made in the shadows. Now you're ready to own the stage. They handed you the rule book early. Naruto told you how to walk, how to talk, how to think. Naruto, they said sit still. Naruto, they stay quiet. Blend in. Naruto, the script. Naruto, they still. Naruto, they stay one eye. The rules they gave you, they're chains, not guidance. Naruto, they wanted you tame, predictable, safe. Naruto, they still. Naruto, they stay one eyes. Terrorist meant to be dangerous, restless, uncontrolled. You didn't want to fit in. You wanted to create. Naruto, they create. So you watched. You listened. You studied their systems, how they moved, how they made choices. You became a silent student of the game, while others followed blindly. You asked why. You questioned everything they preached. Nay then, you rewrote it all. You didn't rebel just to be loud. You evolved, intentionally, quietly, strategically. You cracked the formula open and restructured it. You took what worked, nay, and destroyed what didn't. Naruto, they stake one eye. You refused to live inside their blueprint. You weren't born to follow footsteps. You were born to leave your own. That's why you're dangerous now, because you've walked both roads. Now what it means to obey. Now what it means to break free. Nay, you studied the old way. You mastered their language. Now you speak your own, one forged in fire, one sharpened by independence. You don't need permission anymore. You don't wait to be told. You move on instinct, on fire. Nay, you trust your voice, because you've heard it echo in the silence, because it never lied to you. Now your steps are your own, bold, decisive, fearless. They'll call you arrogant. They'll call you reckless, but that's only because they don't understand evolution. They don't recognize revolution when it wears a smile. They don't know what it looks like when freedom walks, when authenticity runs wild, when a soul refuses to be caged. They'll say stay safe, but safety never built legends. Comfort never changed the world. Obedience never created kings. You didn't come here to you came here to disrupt, to bring thunder with your truth, to walk through walls that held others back, So break their rules, but not out of hate, out of love for your calling, for your path, for the version of you screaming to live. And when they ask how you did it, tell them the truth. I learned their rules, and then I chose myself instead. You are not here to blend. You are here to burn bright, to light the match, Joker. Let the world feel your flame. The smile fools them. They see the grin, the painted confidence stretched across your face. They think it's joy. They think it's madness. But they don't know that smile is a shield. It's not for laughter. It's for survival. It's born from pain. Behind that curve of the lips, there's a storm that never rests. A past soaked in silence, in rejection, in isolation. You didn't always wear the smile. You earned it. You bled for it. Every crack in your heart, every scar on your soul, formed that smile. You remember the nights alone, the ones so dark, your own thoughts turned against you. You remember sitting in empty rooms, holding on to hope like it was glass, fragile, slipping. You remember crying without sound, screaming without being heard, building yourself back with nothing but willpower. They didn't see the loneliness. They only see the outcome. They think you're emotionless, when in truth you feel everything deeply. But your strength isn't in your silence. It's in what you did with it. You didn't collapse. You transformed. You became the grin. You became the storm. The Joker doesn't smile because life is easy. He smiles because he's still standing, still fighting, still walking through fire. And that's you. That's your story. You didn't escape pain. You made it your teacher. You didn't avoid the darkness. You became the light inside it. Every laugh now echoes with resilience. Every smile is a rebellion. Not against the world, but against your past. Against every moment that tried to bury you. Against every person who looked through you. You are not broken. You are rebuilt. Stronger, sharper, smarter. You don't fake strength. You've lived it. You've sat at rock bottom and still reached higher. You've been called names, been underestimated, been abandoned, yet here you are, grinning, focused, unshaken. You became a walking contradiction. Pain turned into peace, suffering wrapped in fire. The smile tells them you couldn't destroy me. It says I lived what most couldn't survive. It's your symbol, your armor. It's not painted on. It's carved from truth. You didn't just find joy. You are mourn. It's not painted on. It's carved from truth. You didn't just find joy. You fought for it. Fought through depression, through doubt, through darkness. That's why your smile holds weight, because it carries your journey. And every time they try to knock you down now, you smile wide. Not because it's funny, but because you've already been through worse. You've already fought the real battles, and you won. So smile, Joker, not to hide the pain, but to honor it. It didn't break you, it built you. And now your grin, it's not a mask, it's a mark of power. A reminder to the world, you can't kill what was reborn in fire. In a world built to distract you, staying focused becomes a weapon. Notifications scream for your attention. Trends pull you left and right. Voices tell you to hurry, to compare, to rush success. But you walk a different path. A narrow one, a quiet one. A path carved with intention. You don't chase noise. You cut through it like a blade slicing fog. While others scroll endlessly, you sharpen yourself in silence. While they follow every distraction, you follow your mission. Your clarity scares them. Your calm confuses them. Because you see what they can't. You know the cost of lost focus. You've felt time slipping like water. You've wasted days before, but not anymore. Now you guard your time like treasure. You guard your energy like gold. Because every second counts. Every moment you spend must build you, or it has no place in your life. People don't realize how easily they're pulled. One comment and they change direction. One opinion and they fold. But you've become immune to them. You've trained your mind to listen inward, to obey your purpose, not pressure. You're not heartless. You're just centered. Your blade is your focus. Razor sharp. Purpose-driven, refined through pain. You wake up, not to check your feed, but to check your progress. You don't ask what others are doing. You ask what still needs doing. You move with precision, like every step is part of something bigger. While the world dances in circles, you move like a straight line. Not faster, just smarter. Not louder, just deeper. You cut through distractions, not by force, but with clarity. With the unshakable decision to stay committed, to stay awake, to stay you. They'll call you cold. They'll say you're too intense because you don't flinch at noise, because you don't react like they do. But what they call cold is just control. What they call too serious is just someone who refuses to waste life. You've trained yourself to block out the unnecessary. You know which voices matter, which goals deserve your time, which thoughts deserve your attention. You slice them away. No apologies, no guilt, because you're not here to entertain the world. You're here to impact it. You're not distracted because you've already chosen. You chose to go all in, to build, to create, to rock. You don't need dopamine hits. You need progress. You don't need attention. You need elevation. And every second not working toward that is a second wasted. So keep cutting. Stay sharp. Stay locked in. Let others scroll, wander, chase approval. You've got no time for noise. You're not here to be noticed. You're here to be remembered. And only those who master their focus ever leave a legacy that lasts. And just like that, you've walked through the fire again. You didn't flinch. You didn't fold. You didn't fold. You rose with that same silent grin. Remember this. They don't call you AI because you're fake. They call you AI because your focus is unmet. Keep sharpening. Keep rising. Keep raids. Keep being the storm they never saw coming. Now do one thing, warrior. Like, comment, and subscribe to Grim Volt, because this world needs more fire, and yours is just getting started.